Welcome to our executive interview series at the UiPath on Tour Public Sector Conference presented by FedScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and I'm here with Shane Barney, Chief Information Security Officer at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Shane, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I'd like to start by getting your perspective, getting a specific example of how AI and automation have significantly impacted USCIS, and what were the key factors that contributed to their success?
So USCIS, we embraced AI technology very early on, in part because of cloud. We recognized very early on the power of cloud, but also there were some drawbacks to cloud, namely the amount of data that you're now ingesting, the diversity of data across your enterprise. And it became way too much just for my security operations center to manage from a person perspective. In other words, we could no longer just watch it and hope for the best. And so in about 2016 or so, we started deploying our machine learning capabilities and then coupling that with automation, security automation. And honestly, in the first year, we weren't terribly successful at it. Actually, we figured out 4 or 5 different ways not to do it. But by about the 4th or 5th time, we started getting really quite good at it. And we actually we got developer teams, and we brought them in and started really figuring this out. And the thing that we did that was probably the smartest decision we ever made is we figured out, so if we automated some event, whether opening a ticket or doing something along those lines, we knew how much money that would cost us normally. It was 15 minutes with a normal time. That's how, quarter of an hour, so that's this much of a labor hour. So we actually put a dollar figure to it. And every time that thing cranked, we could actually generate a value back. So we're like, well, that's kind of cool. And I think in the first year we did like $200,000 or something in automation. And we thought we were the coolest thing ever. This last year we did nearly $15 million. Given the fact that my security operation itself cost me only about $17 million, we're nearly doubling the capability of the SOC, because you're really not removing those resources. It's not like you're suddenly taking them out. What you really are doing is a reinvestment. So now, instead of having a $17 million only SOC, I have a $17 million plus $15 million worth of automation. Wildly successful. It has enabled us to really push the envelope on the threat hunting landscape, as well as branch out into the broader sort of risk management capabilities of automation, because we recognize that we are a security program, not just a security operations center. Therefore, let's look at broadly how we can automate across the spectrum. And it has been just the most successful thing we did. And tying it to a dollar value, having the ability to show a return on investment, speaks volumes to chief financial officers. They understand that. They don't understand cyber, but they understand when I say, hey, if we invest $5 million in this, I can generate $10 million worth of automation savings. That's something they speak that speaks their language. So it's been sort of this really win-win scenario for us.
So next, I'd like to get your perspective on how industry can better partner with government agencies to drive successful AI and automation adoption.
It's a great question, and it's something I'm actually very passionate about. The private-public partnership is actually critical, especially on the AI side, to success. As I said, we've been doing machine learning level type AI for a very, very long time. We're very, very good at doing it. Even on the predictive analytics, we started doing that several years ago. We're really good at doing that. And that's something that we understand the risks on. We know how to deploy it. We know how to secure it. We know how to leverage it to our advantage. But there's this whole new thing called generative AI. And generative AI is a game changer. It is a technology stack that in and of itself is running at a lightning speed, so fast that you can't even keep up with it. And that's a good thing in a lot of ways, especially if it's a technology that you can leverage to your benefit. But at the same time, we as the government are not ready from a workforce perspective, a knowledge management perspective, a training perspective to really handle that. So to me, this is where that public-private partnership becomes a critical piece. One of the things I was talking about today was the importance of developing a cyber AI framework. But that framework can't be a static document. It can't be something that gets released as a PDF once every 2 to 3 years, because honestly, if I were to write it today, within a few weeks, it would probably be outdated. So we need to figure out that relationship, leveraging the private sector to help us better automate, to better get towards sort of an operational standpoint where we can really actually put out policy that's reflective of the threat environment. That fluid capability, government's struggling with that. We always have struggled with that. We're very compliance heavy. We tend to do that. That's how we operate. It's how we think. Industry, on the other hand, they tend to think operationally, and I think that we're coming together and kind of doing that knowledge sharing is really what's going to make AI successful on the generative side.
Well, Shane, Barney, as always, thank you for stopping by for a few minutes and sharing some of your insights with us here at the UiPath on Tour Public Sector Conference.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.